The Snowflake's Wish. On a winter's night, when everything seemed kissed by frost and sparkling like a dream, there was a magical little village called Evergreen. Long icicles dangled from rooftops, shimmering under the glow of Christmas lights. Warm, golden windows peeked out from snow-covered houses, filling the streets with an enchanting coziness. Laughter echoed as children made snow angels, and the sweet scent of peppermint hot chocolate drifted on the breeze. Up above in the swirling clouds, something wonderful was happening. Snowflakes were being born, each one delicate and unique, swirling and twinkling as they danced through the winter sky. Among them was a single tiny snowflake named Crystal. Crystal wasn't like the other snowflakes. She loved dancing in the wind, just like her friends. But deep in her snowy heart, she longed for something more. "I want to bring magic to someone," she whispered, spinning in the moonlight. "I want to make a difference." Through her selfless wish, she transforms his workshop and rekindles the festive spirit in the entire village, proving that even the smallest beings can create significant magic. Her friends simply giggled as they tumbled toward the rooftops, content to rest wherever the wind carried them. But Crystal kept dreaming of a special purpose. Little did she know, her wish was about to come true. In the heart of Evergreen, there was a small workshop nestled between two brightly lit houses. Unlike the rest of the village, this shop was dark and silent. The sign above the door read *Mr. Tinker's Clockworks*, though it was faded and frosted over. Inside sat Mr. Tinker, an old clockmaker with round spectacles perched on his nose. He had once crafted the most magical clocks in all of Evergreen. Clocks with tiny forest animals that would twirl at the hour, clocks that played bells as soft as a lullaby. But over the years, Mr. Tinker had grown lonely. Each passing Christmas seemed to make his heart colder, until one day he stopped making clocks altogether. That night, as snowflakes began to fall, Mr. Tinker sat in his cold, empty workshop, staring out of his frosty window. His tools lay untouched on the workbench, and an unfinished clock sat covered in dust. "Christmas doesn't feel magical anymore," he muttered sadly. High above, Crystal noticed the lonely, quiet workshop. She twirled in the air, her tiny snowflake heart aching for the old man below. "He needs some Christmas magic," she whispered. "I know what I must do." Crystal gazed at the bright Christmas star in the sky. Its light sparkled like a guiding beacon, and she felt her frosty edges glow with determination. The north wind caught her in its breezy arms and carried her toward Mr. Tinker's shop. Slowly, she floated down, weaving through the cold air until she reached the frosted window. Crystal squeezed herself through a tiny crack and landed inside the workshop. It was quiet, except for the distant ticking of an old clock in the corner. Crystal drifted onto the dusty workbench, where the unfinished clock sat forgotten. "This will do perfectly," she said softly, settling herself in the center of its tiny gears. And then, something magical happened. As Crystal melted in the warmth of the workshop, a shimmering light began to spread across the clock. The tiny gears clicked to life, one by one, and soon the entire clock began to hum. Then, as if by magic, it started to chime. A soft, tinkling melody that filled the workshop with a sound so sweet, it felt like the whisper of a Christmas angel. Mr. Tinker looked up suddenly, startled by the music. He blinked in confusion as the melody filled the room. "What's this?" he said, slowly walking to the workbench. He touched the clock's smooth wooden face, and as the melody grew louder, something extraordinary happened. Memories flooded back, memories of Christmases long ago, when his workshop had been full of laughter and life. He saw children pressing their faces to his shop's windows, their eyes wide with wonder as they watched his magical clocks. He remembered the warmth in his chest as he crafted gifts that sparked joy in others. His old heart, which had grown so cold and quiet over the years, suddenly felt warm again. By the time dawn broke over Evergreen, Mr. Tinker was a changed man. His workshop glowed with light, the fireplace crackled, and tools clinked as he worked, really worked, for the first time in years. The unfinished clock was complete now, ticking happily on the workbench, but it wasn't alone. There were 3 more clocks, each one crafted with exquisite care. Tiny reindeer spun in circles, snowmen waved their twiggy arms, and bells jingled with every chime. When the shop doors opened that morning, the village children gathered outside in excitement. Mr. Tinker stepped out, his face beaming. He looked at the children and laughed, a warm, heartful laugh that hadn't escaped his lips in years. Come in, he called, holding the door open wide. The children rushed in, their delighted giggles filling the shop as they marveled at the magical clocks. Parents followed, placing new orders for Christmas gifts, and soon the workshop buzzed with excitement. The once quiet shop had come alive, as if touched by an unseen spark of magic. And at the very center of it all sat the little clock where crystal had melted. Her glow still shimmered faintly within its ticking heart, spreading its magic far and wide. As Christmas Eve turned into Christmas morning, Crystal's magic had already transformed more than just Mr. Tinker's shop. Her warmth and light spread through Evergreen, reminding the villagers of the true spirit of Christmas. Even though no one could see her anymore, they felt her presence in every melody the clocks played, in every smile the children shared. Mr. Tinker's shop became a symbol of joy and hope, and he was no longer lonely. Crystal's tiny heart had left a lasting mark on the world below, proving that even the smallest being can create the grandest magic. That night, as Evergreen glimmered under the soft light of the Christmas star, a whisper floated on the wind, a voice as soft as falling snow. Even the smallest wish can bring the greatest joy. And in the years to come, each Christmas in Evergreen was filled with songs and laughter, all thanks to a tiny snowflake named Crystal, whose one wish had changed everything. The end.